Welcome back to Savanna Techie. I'm your host, Rafael Ndwiga. In this video, I'll be introducing to you the GNU Emacs. So, what is GNU Emacs? GNU Emacs, it belongs to a family of text editors that are characterized by their extensibility. It also refers to implementation of any version of Emacs that features a dialect of Lisp programming language. And the reason why they feature an implementation of Lisp is because Lisp allows or provides deep extension capabilities, which gives the users ability to write new commands and applications for the editor. Some of the extensions have enabled Emacs to do things such as manage files, perform remote access to servers, read emails, play multimedia. Also, some of them have enabled Git integration and also RSS feeds. Now, it's not just productive things that have been built using Emacs. Also, there are also games that have been built for Emacs, such as an implementation of the popular Snake game, the Donut, the Pong, and Tetris have all been incorporated into the text editor. Now, the reason why the version we're looking at is called GNU Emacs is because there have been many Emacs text editors built in the past. The original Emacs was written in 1976 by David Moon and Guy Steele Jr. Other Emacs that have been built include Ghostmax, written by James Gosling back in 1981. And it happens that James Gosling is also the lead designer of the Java programming language. The other Emacs is Xmacs, also known as Lucid Emacs, by Jamie Zawinski and others at Lucid Inc. back in 1981. The other notable ones include Mido, which happens to be a Japanese version of Microsoft Words, and Aquamax. The GNU Emacs was created by Richard Stallman, who also happens to be the steward, the creator of the GNU project. And it happens that the GNU Emacs was originally based on Ghostmax by James Gosling, and the GNU Emacs was the first stable version was released in 1985. So you can see that Ghostmax was released in 1981, and then 4 years later, Richard Stallman released the GNU Emacs in 1985, and then the Lucid Emacs in 1991. So that's a bit of the history regarding GNU Emacs. Now, in today's session, we'll basically be going through basic operation or basic movement, opening of file, starting the Emacs session, basic navigation, and basic navigation using Emacs. So As you can see on the screen, we have the official tour of GNU Emacs, and as you can see, it basically restates what I've just mentioned, that the GNU Emacs, it calls that the Emacs is extensible, customizable, self-documenting, real-time display editor. You can also be able to use Emacs to write programs, because it has tools for compiling, running and testing programs. You can also use the GNU Emacs to compare two files and highlight the differences. It also features a file manager, and you can also be able to read news and emails, and you can even play Tetris. Okay, so now to get started, you can launch in a server. You can be able to launch Emacs, the GNU Emacs, by typing the command Emacs. Okay, and when you do that, in my case, since I've installed Emacs on my machine, it opens up a new window. It opens up a new window, and this is how the window looks like. And this window has several parts. As it's organized, it has several parts, and it has a menu bar at the top. This is the menu bar. Okay, this is the menu bar, and then it has a toolbar. This is a toolbar, and then it has the window area, this one. Okay, and this window area is where the content you're currently editing is displayed, and then it has the echo area here at the bottom. So what do all these particular windows what do all these particular windows, what are they, what are their use? So the menu bar here, it allows for easy access of commands. So if I was to select here, you can be able to see we have tabs of highlighting. We have, like in edit, you can be able to do search, string, replace, go to, text properties, and then in options you have multiple commands that can be able to do, that can be able to use. And then for the toolbar, the toolbar is mainly found on the graphical version of Emacs, and it contains a row of icons. You can see you have like the search icons, the clipboard, the copy, the cut, the undo, save, and so on. And then the window area, this is where the content you are viewing or editing is displayed. In Emacs, this content which can either be graphic or text is called buffer. So we call this content here buffer. On the same window, it shows because Emacs can have multiple windows segmented. The one that is active usually shows because it usually has a prominent cursor, and the cursor is the one that is currently blinking. Okay, and the buffer that is displayed, the buffer that is displayed is called current buffer. Now the echo area, which happens to be the one below, this is where Emacs displays additional information, and also it allows you to enter information when it requests for it. So we'll see how to go about that one. Now, how does Emacs handle user input? The difference between Emacs editor and the VI editor, such as VI editor and other graphic editors such as Notepad, Word, is that Emacs and VI have been primarily been designed for use with been designed to be used with the keyboard. Therefore, each of the key on the keyboard or a combination of the key act as a command that is interpreted by the editor to perform a particular action. And now in Emacs, to make things easier, the keys are placed in certain categories. These categories are control characters, and example of control characters in the GNU Emacs include the return key, which on the keyboard is written as enter. There's a tab key, there's delete, escape, F1, home, and then there's page up, page down. Those are control characters. And then there's what is referred to as the other particular set of characters is called the modifier keys. So an example of modifier key in GNU Emacs is called the meta key. Currently on the keyboard is normally it's popularly depicted by the key written as Alt. So the Alt key is what usually in the Emacs documentation is referred as a meta key. So the modifier keys are usually used in combination with other keys. Same case with the control keys. For example, the command Control A, written as capital C -A, is entered by holding the control key and then pressing letter A. Okay, and then to do a combination of a meta key, you press the Alt key or the meta key, and then with that particular letter. So for example, in the previous we did Control A to enter that particular key combination, and then the other combination you can do using a meta key is press and hold the Alt key and letter A or any other particular letter to issue a particular command. There are many different combinations that can be used to control the behavior of Emacs. Now, an important thing to note about Emacs is that it does not assign meaning to keys directly. Let me repeat. Emacs does not assign meaning to keys directly. What does this one mean? It basically implies that Emacs assign meaning to named command and then give keys their meaning by binding them to commands. So there are already commands built in the system, and to be able to access those commands, so what has happened, what the Emacs developer did is that they mapped certain keys. For example, Control A. Control A is a command that it tells Emacs to move the cursor to the beginning of the current line. So there's already a command to move the cursor to beginning of current line, and to be able to access this particular command, use the key combination of Control A. Now if you happen to customize your environment and rebind the commands to different keys, then the default key combination for a particular command will be different. That is, it will be specific to you because you have reconfigured. Rebind basically means reconfigured the keys to different commands. Okay, so now when an Emacs session is started, there are various methods to be able to start an Emacs session. So you can start an Emacs session by typing Emacs, and if at all the Emacs has been installed on a desktop Linux, it will launch a screen like this. Okay, And when this particular screen is launched, you can see that below it, okay, sorry, you can see that the original terminal is still left. It has been tied up. That is, you cannot use that particular terminal to enter or run other shell commands. So if you launch it from a terminal, and then when you invoke the Emacs command on the terminal and it launched another window, and you still wanted to use the previous terminal to do to run other shell commands, the best way to do that will be to issue the command Emacs, okay, Emacs, and the dollars, the ampersand sign. So what happens when you do this is that it will launch the Emacs window, but at the same time it will free the terminal for you to be able to enter other commands, for example ls and so on. Okay. The other way to do that will be to start Emacs with a buffer displaying the content of a given file. So let me quit this session. So like for example, let me do this. Let me create a directory. So mkdir Emacs underscore learning, then then I'll go to cd to Emacs underscore learning, and then I'll do touch, call the file learning, okay, and then I can say Emacs learning. When you do that, Emacs will launch, and as it launches, it will launch with split screen. So right now it has launched with two split screen, and the upper screen, it has the buffer region for writing content to the new file. So I can write the content such as this is an example. So the difference between Emacs, one of the difference between Emacs and VI is that on VI, when you open a file and you want to insert content, you have to on the keyboard, you have to, from the normal mode, you have to first of all hit letter I on the keyboard to go under insertion mode and make able to enter content. But on Emacs, immediately you open the file, you can be able to start typing content. So this is a test. Okay, and to save this particular the content that you have written on the keyboard, you issue the command control S. Okay, oh sorry, let me undo that command by control G. So to save, you issue the command control X, okay, and then control C, and then to quit editing, you will issue the command control X, control C. Oh shit. Okay, so now if you want to save this particular content that you have written, you'll issue the command control X, control S. Okay, you can see at the bottom it has been you can see at the bottom it is written wrote content to that particular file, and it gives you the file path that the content has been written to. So to exit this particular session or to close an active session of Emacs, the command that you use for that one is Control X, Control C. So once you do that, the Emacs session is terminated, and you can be able to, if you do now go back to terminal and type ls command, and then now you do cut learning, okay, you can be able to see that particular content that was written. So now let me just delete everything. So that's how you open. You start a session of Emacs. We have seen that you can start a session of Emacs by in 3 ways. By just basically typing Emacs, it will launch start the Emacs session. Or you can use Emacs with an ampersand, or you can use Emacs with the file name to open the file directly. Now Emacs comes with built-in. Okay, sorry. Emacs comes in with a built-in tutorial. So, and to be able to access the built-in tutorial, you use the command Control H and then T. So let me start an Emacs session here. So I'll do Emacs, and then since I want to launch the session on the same console, I'll say -n-w. Okay, now I'm in an Emacs session. If I want to access the tutorial, then I'll issue the command Control H then T. So that one now launches the tutorial. So I will advise you to go through the tutorial. It's quite detailed with good examples that you can use to learn. So and to exit the tutorial, you can just be able to issue the same command. So can be able to close the entire session by issuing the command Control X, Control C, and I can exit Emacs. So let me launch Emacs, and then let me launch the tutorial. So we use the content of the tutorial for learning. So the tutorial says we can access the tutorial by issuing the command Control H and then T. Now to navigate through the text on Emacs, they use a combination of the control character and the meta character. Okay, so we use a combination of control character and meta character. Now, if we say we wanted to move from where the cursor is, the cursor position, from Emacs to the end here, to the full stop. Okay, you want to move to the full stop, and you can. There are multiple. There are 2 ways you can do that. You can move the cursor. You can move the cursor on the same line per character. What do I mean? I mean that if you hold the key Control, okay, you issue the command Control F, it moves the cursor one character ahead. So if I'm pressing the Control F, I'm able to see it going forward. Now if I want to move back to the word Emacs, then I issue the command Control B, control back. So Control B, and then it moves backwards. Now if in cases whereby if now you want to move faster, then the other way to go about it is to use the meta key combination. So the meta key is on your keyboard is labeled as Alt and sometimes labeled as Edit. So in my keyboard is Alt, so I'll press Alt, okay, and to go forward then I go F. So what it happens is that it goes forward to the beginning of the next word. So it has come from Emacs to tutorial, and then if I press F again, it will go to the end of that particular that particular word. I press F again, it will go to the beginning of the next word. You can see the beginning of the next word is end, and then F again to the beginning of 4. So if I press F again, it will go to beginning of copy, and then conditions. To go backwards using the meta key or the Alt key, you press the Alt key and then B to go back one word, and then so that's how you go about it. So you can go forward a character or can go backwards a character. Now to move across lines, to move across different lines, you use the command Control P to move to the previous line, that is go on one line above, and Control N or Control Next to move the cursor down. So you to move the cursor up the previous line, you use Control P, and Control N to move the cursor down. So in practice will be Control N. You can see it has moved the cursor down the next line. Control N, cursor down. Control N, cursor down. If I want to move to my right per word, then I'll use Alt F, okay. And then if I want to move upwards, I'll use Control P, previous Control P, Control P. You can see moving upwards and downwards. So up or downwards is Control N, okay. Upwards Control P, okay. Now if now you want to move the cursor across the line, so let's say for example you want to come here to this word than, and this is the position of this is the position of the cursor, okay. If you want to move the cursor to the end of the current line, we use the command Control E. So we press Control and then press letter E, it will move to the end of that line. If you want to move to the beginning of the line, you use Control A. So Control E to move to the end of the line, Control A, move to the beginning of the line, okay. If you want to move to the next line, you use Control N, to move to the next line. And if you Control N to move to the next line, Control P to move to the previous line. To move to the end of the line, use Control E. Now when it comes to navigation, there's a as you can see there's a parallel relationship between the meta key and the meta characters and the control character, okay. And one of the relation is that the control character, it moves the cursor in what we call a basic unit, basic units that are independent of what you're editing. So by basic unit means that if this is a word, it will move basic unit that is in terms of character. So basic unit means that it's moving per character. For example, if I press Control B, I move one character on each word, okay. So I move each character on the line, each character. So this is the basic. So this is, it moves, it operates on basic unit, that is independent on what you are editing. And now for the meta character, they are used in operations related to units defined by the language. So what do I mean? It means that for meta character, if at all you are moving, the cursor position is the cursor position is the beginning of the word edit, okay, and I use the meta character for movement, it will move across the entire word. So for example, if I press Alt or the meta key, I press the key Alt B, it will move behind one word. I press Alt F, it will move per word, okay. And now that particular movement will be the same applies, whereby for control characters, we have said that the control characters operate on basic unit independent on what you are editing. So if at all you are moving on a character, on a word, it will move per character. If you want to move along the line, then it will move across the line on the buffer area. This is the buffer area. Then this area that you are viewing this content is called the buffer area. So it will move across that line, regardless of whether it's the end of the sentence or it's the beginning of the sentence. So it will just move across that particular line, without regard of whether it's a sentence or not. So what do I mean? If I press Control A, it will move to the end of that particular line. It will move to the beginning of the line. If I press Control E, it will move to the end of the line. Okay, but if I use the key Alt A, it moves to the beginning of the sentence. Okay, it moves to the beginning of the sentence. So the meta key is sensitive towards the language, is sensitive towards the language. That is, it will obey. If at all it's a word, it will move to the beginning of the. If at all it's a sentence, it will move to the beginning of the sentence. If it's a paragraph, it will move to the beginning or end of that particular paragraph. So let me use Control A to go to the beginning of this line. So if I wanted to move to the word Emacs here, which happens to be the beginning of the sentence that begins with the Emacs and ends with this particular bracket, then I'm able to use the command Alt A. Okay, so let me put it in a more better place. Let me take it. Let me put it here. So let's say I want to move here to the word Emacs, which happens to be the beginning of this sentence, because a sentence is a full stop or a full colon. So to go to the beginning of this sentence, I'll just press Alt A, and it goes to the beginning of the sentence. Okay. If let's say I was to go back to that particular position that you are in. Okay, if I go back to that particular position that we are in here, and I pressed Control A, I will not go to the beginning of this sentence that begins with Emacs. Rather, I'll go to the beginning of this line. So if I press Control A, I'll go to the beginning of this line. All right. Now, let me do a recap of what we have covered. So we have said that to move towards the right, to move the cursor towards the right on the same line, we can either move per character or per word. To move per character, we use the Control key. So use Control A, F to move towards the right, and then Control B to move towards the left. If I want to move along that line, but instead of per character we move per word, then we use Alt F to move forward per word, and then Alt B to move backwards per word. And then we have said that if we want to move the cursor upwards to the previous line, we use the command Control P for previous, and if you want to move to the next line, the line below, we use the command Control N. Okay, Control N to move down, Control P to move up. We also looked and said that if you want to move at the beginning of the line, we use the command Control A. Control A moves to the beginning of the line, and then Control E, it goes to the end of that line. Okay, and we also seen that if you wanted to move to the beginning of the sentence, from the current cursor position, beginning of the sentence from the current cursor position, we use the command Alt A. It will go to the beginning of that particular sentence, and if you want to go to the end of that particular sentence, we use the command Alt E. It will go to the end of that particular sentence. All right. So now, next we look at in the next video, we look at the basic changing and adding of basic text manipulation. That means we look at command for inserting text. We look at the command for we look at how to change text. We look at how to delete a character, how to delete characters after the cursor. We look at how to yank text, and then deleting words from the current cursor position. We look at copying text. We look at pasting text. That's all for now. See you in my next video. Don't forget to, if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe, like it, and hit the notification button. See you next time.